Okay, on today's video, what we got going on is I went out of town for a couple of weeks, and my stepson, he was down in Louisiana with his grandma while we were out of town, and so his bike, it was running fine before we left, but and it's one of the Coolster 125s. Anyway, you know, it sat underneath the awning for a couple of weeks. We got back, he tried to kickstart it and it would only fire up and run with the choke on. And so typically if it wants to die when you take the choke off after it's warmed up, then you got some kind of intake leak, you're getting in more air, and so you're needing more fuel, and so you have to put the choke on to kind of restrict some of that air and add more fuel to the mixture that's going in there. So what we're going to do, I don't know if y'all seen the last video where we did a little carburetor, the float adjustment, but when I put it back together, I noticed that his intake manifold where the O-ring was, it was kind of slightly off, and in the video you'll hear me talking about it, but and so I'm just wondering if it's something to do with that, or if possibly the O-ring is just dry rotted. I have noticed that a lot of the rubbers on this bike have dry rotted pretty fast. I mean, all over in different places. And so, you know, before, it wasn't a super expensive bike, so I mean, it's not surprising. Before it's all said and done, you know, we'll replace all this stuff with some good Viton. That'll pretty much last forever. But okay, let's get started on this. I'm gonna pull this cover off, and I believe this one. Okay, this just makes it easier for us to get to the bolts on the carburetor. So you even notice that the rubber right there, it's already dry rotted. You know, these things, they only run, I think we paid like out the door around $15.50, something like that. 16s, I don't remember the taxes and all, but so I mean, you can't be expecting it to just be perfect. And although he does leave it out in the weather a little bit from time to time, which, you know, see that one, which he really shouldn't, but the amount that it's been left out in the weather isn't enough, if it was good rubber, to have dry rotted it that fast. But we let's see what we got going here. We got another bolt over here. I bet you that's a 10mm nut underneath it. Don't burst it up. Let's get out the old gear wrenches. You got this, you know, this little, yep, see if I can get that right. Now, one of the things, if you get an intake leak, especially on a air-cooled motorcycle that's carbureted, not fuel injected, you know, fuel injection, the O2 sensor will notice that it's running lean and compensate on the fuel trims, which will help keep the engine or the cylinder from running too hot, burn a hole in the piston. But you know, a carbureted air-cooled engine, well, it don't do that. And so if you notice that you have an intake leak, which is a telltale sign is that you're having to run it with the choke on, it needs to be addressed right then. Or you know, you don't need to ride it until you get it addressed, that's for sure. So take this whole thing off. This is just going to make it easier to get to the. I ain't got to fight around the fairing there. Get to the screws. One more. Another 10mm. If I can get on it. Okay, if I remember, this is a 10mm as well. Can't get the gear part on there yet. Yeah, see the spacer on the manifold is, it looks a little off center from the actual carburetor body itself, and so that's what I noticed that other day. I don't know what we're gonna do. You know, worst case scenario, I'll have to machine a new spacer if I can't figure out some other way to get it lined up. Yep. Come around here and show this to them. All right, you see the bolt holes are lined up, but that spacer, you see down there where that O-ring, it finally must have just popped a little loose. I've tried, see, when I hold it like this, which is what I noticed the other day. Now what I can do, and this is probably what we're about to do, you see, it was close, but it wasn't where it needed to be. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to machine out these holes. I'm going to slot them, and that way I can get it lined up where I want it, and then make sure, tighten it down and make sure that it's good and lined up like it's supposed to be. So we're going to shop. Let's see, we want to come down this way here. So we're going to shop and get this thing jigged up. Now we got to kind of figure out a way to jig this up where, and I think what I can do is get all my chips out of here. It might be, you know, it's just composite. You know, I don't want to get too wild with tightening it up and bust it. But at the same time, we need it to cut through without any issues. No. It might work. Yeah, maybe not. I think if I go easy, I can probably get through it right there. Now, let's see, we're going to go this way. So, now, you know, not everybody's going to have a milling machine, but if you watch my freaking videos and you save money on all your projects, or the stuff you got to work on. Maybe you don't want to work on it, but then you can buy stuff like milling machines or benchtop drill presses. You can do a lot with an even smaller milling machine than this. You know, that's, you know, like some of the small ones that you can get from Grizzly, or there's a little company called, if I remember the name right, Little Machine Shop. You can find them online, and you get the tools you need. Now, let me show you something. When you're lining these holes up, when you're checking to make sure you're lined up and you're slightly in it, I'm going to turn it backwards. You know, you always want to go backwards until you start making your cut. And anyway, so now we're going to plunge cut these. We're not going to feed into it. I don't know, I may want to feed into it really, because then it would be pushing. Pushing towards it. I think we'll have more strength that way, but okay. We're just gonna go take it easy. Just let it cut. Keep checking it, you know. I'm kind of doing this just by eye, just roughly about what I felt like it needed to get up to where we had a good seal. Bring that a little bit. All right. Let's go test it out. Looks like that's probably going to do it. We've got went ahead and put the bolts in, and I'm pushing up against them. Got pretty good, pretty even contact all the way around the surface. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This right here, and maybe one day I'll machine a whole new one, but the inner bore of this should come all the way pretty much flush to the throat of the carburetor, and that way it would have complete surface contact with the O-ring. But you know, we got 50%, so I mean, we're over the high spot of the O-ring, so it's gonna seal. But like I said, maybe I mean, we're gonna have to fix these. I mean, look at this. We'll change that out real quick, because he's wanting to do some riding tomorrow with his buddy. We don't want that cracking open. Anyway, let's put this car back on and see where we're at. I'll get them, both of them started. And then I'm going to push up. I'm going to push down with the carburetor and up with the it's actually an insulator, but and to make sure that I get that fit that I'm wanting. Yeah, we had to change that out for sure. Alright. Tell you what, get a little screwdriver, help to push it up with. There we go. a little better contact. Make sure that's still pushed up on the other side too. Alright. Make sure she's snug pretty good. You don't want to get wild and bust the aluminum body of it, but you do want it fairly snug. All right, let's crank it up and see if we notice, you know, that it's running better. Cameraman, choke is up or down? I don't remember.
Choke, the on choke is up. Okay. When it's off, it's down.
All right. Well, let's give this thing a day in court. Watch out.